Welcome to the
Boom.
show. This is Internet Uncapped. I am your host, Evan. Joining me, as always, is Mitchell. Mitchell's trying to do something with his headphones. I don't know what's going on. He got a hat. Anyway, if you're watching this video, we're doing a few videos before the end of the year. This is actually something that we were talking about a little bit, just to catch up on a few different abandoned projects that weren't realized as we were getting out our videos, but we wanted to get them out before the end of the year. Today's video is we are going to review the October football horror movie, unfortunate flop, known as Him. So, I'm gonna do a little bit of an introduction, Mitchell, and then maybe we'll really break it down and break down our thoughts afterward. But Him is basically, as I said, it is a football horror movie. And basically, it is about. Let me pull up the name really quick. Yes, Cameron or Cam Cade, who has trained pretty much for
His
a very
entire
long
life.
what
His entire life.
his entire life, up until the point that we get in the movie, to be the next big football star. Think Tom Brady, more or less. And he is inspired by Marlon Wayans' character, who plays Isaiah White, who wins 8 football championships, one more than Tom Brady, as Mitchell has noted a few different times to me. And so basically, he is recruited by Isaiah White to join him in a kind of isolated compound in the middle of nowhere, so that he can train to be the best. But as with all these kinds of stories, things get a little weird,
Hmm.
and definitely very violent and very there's all kinds of stuff. I won't get into too much until we get into spoilers. But it is to say that there's a lot more than meets the eye behind what this compound and this training ground that Isaiah White is doing. Um, so I would say that my initial thoughts right now, which is that watching the movie, believe it or not, and also it was a bit deceptive with the campaigning of this movie, because Jordan Peele was the executive producer, but I think people thought he was actually directing it. So obviously, he's very into these kind of socially conscious horror movies, and so it kind of makes sense that people kind of got a little deceived by it. Uh, but in any event, I think that this movie had a really interesting premise. Certainly, the actual trailers looked really spot on and very very interesting. The overall execution, however, leaves a lot to be desired. Um, but I think that there is a good movie in this one. There was a lot of potential that at least I could see, especially toward the end. But it really didn't make a lot of sense. There were too many inconsistencies and plot holes and things, and um overall it did not meet either of our expectations.
Yes.
But certainly we'll go over everything, and then we'll do our final rating. So Mitchell, until without further ado, let's break down what's going on with him.
Yep. As I go ahead and get my chair situated. All
Hmm.
right. Perfect. Yeah. So the movie Him. When I first saw this, I'm a big football guy. I immediately was like, I love this. I want to know what are they going to go ahead and break down and bring out. Um, excuse me. Immediately, I saw, the very first trailer they showed, it was Marlon Wayans. They showed Cam Cade, and they showed a football with blood coming out of it in staples.
Hmm.
Since 2010, we were freshmen in high school. The NFL has put a lot of emphasis on concussions. They have put a lot of emphasis on, trying to better the equipment in the NFL with CTE. Um, just all around, they've been trying to do their part to fix, the horrors of football. And it starts, and they've been trying to inform the youth about it, inform parents about it with their kids signing up. How should they play? How should they tackle, etc. You look at some of these players in the mid 2000s and in the 2010s, and there were some guys that would tackle with their head, and they would go for the kill shot, which is hit him on the side of the head. Famously, um, there was a Saints defensive coordinator. His name was Greg Williams, if I remember correctly. I'm typing it in right now. Yep, Greg Williams. He was the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. And this was at the time that they got in trouble for Bountygate, where they were purposefully injuring players and they were paying extra money to injure players. And they were saying, aim for the ear hole on the side of the helmet, go for the kill shot. We want their head sideways. We want to go for the kill shot. And, since that has happened from 2010 on, they did that during the 2009 season. Um, since that has happened, there has been a stain on the reputation of the NFL. There's been a stain on the reputation of football as a sport. And as we go ahead and we talk more about CTE, we talk more about concussions, these things are brought more and more to the forefront. Now,
Mhm.
again, when I first saw this trailer, I figured part of that would be mentioned. I figured part of that would be the discussion. You look at the picture here as my background. You see Cameron Cade with blood coming down the side of his head. They showed early on X-ray, and they showed like the bones and these guys hitting heads and the brain shaking. That was my initial thought of what this was going to be about. Um, I thought that was going to be linked to it, rather not the main point, but it was going to be linked to it.
Right.
When you hear him, you see these guys all the time say, "I'm him, I'm him." Or you have guys like DK Metcalf in the NFL learning sign language to talk trash and not get fined by the NFL because he is standing on business. And yeah, so I thought this was going to be more so about. At first, I thought I was going to talk about concussion, CTE, bring that to the forefront, while also, or sorry, that was my first initial thought. Later, we see kind of Isaiah Whiteside, and this is the first trailer where he's kind of obsessive, and you get this sort of feeling that he's just all about football all the time. And then I started thinking to myself, this is going to be about a story of being addicted to trying to be the greatest,
Mhm.
like sacrificing things and just um, going ahead and doing above and beyond. I thought like Isaiah White, who is played by Marlon Wayans, I thought he was gonna, expose something like, yeah, like secretly what I've been doing is I've been killing people and then stealing their blood to keep me young. That was my very first thought. I thought he
Mm.
was gonna be killing people and kind of sacrificing them. We do learn about sacrificing the movie, but not in that way.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll talk about it later. It'll be a
Yeah.
spoiler,
In the
but
spoilers. Yep. Mhm.
yeah. But I thought he was going to be sacrificing them to get their blood to stay young forever because I heard about Lance Armstrong and how he was doping with blood. And it's something that has been talked about a lot more recently, also, where
Yes.
people are doping with blood to try to stay young and fruitful. So I thought this was going to be again, the very first time or the very beginning of the first trailer, I thought this was going to be about concussions and CTE. Then, as the trailer goes on, you see Marlon Wayans and just how obsessive he is, how he wants everything to be good. And, the way that the trailer was laid out, it seemed like a Nike commercial. It seemed like every single like sports commercial ever. And then they drop the bomb on you that, yeah, this ain't it. And moving forward, things get crazier and crazier.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest unfortunate parts about this movie is that there were a lot of things that this movie could have done. There was a lot of potential, especially with the ideas, and it definitely went the easy way out. Oh, and one more thing. From this point forward, we are doing spoilers. So I will let people know when spoilers is over. But until then, we're going to talk about some pretty specific things in terms of the overall movie and the plot. Because they went the easy way out and they decided to do the cult stuff. And so yeah, so there was a lot of there were a few things I don't remember specifically in the movie about blood transfusions, but there was definitely some suggestion about that a little bit. And Cameron and Cam Cade, see. I'm sure that the Tyreek Withers, who's a relatively new actor in the scene, I'm sure that he, is just getting his feet wet, trying to build a career for himself and whatever. I just didn't think his acting was that good. And maybe it wasn't because of him necessarily. I think it more has to do with the writing
Yes,
itself, but
yes.
his character as portrayed by him, it just wasn't compelling enough for me
So
to like
this,
follow along. When we
yeah,
get toward the very end, that's where I felt like he really clicked, but by that point it's too late. And so there were some problems here and there when it came to his actual journey as a whole. And it was just like he's just a face and he's just the protagonist and we're moving along. And I feel
yeah,
like there were a lot of things that were missing in order to make the narrative more compelling. Or not only that, I also had an idea about like, how sometimes they'll have like the big graphics, and then they'll have the profiles of each of the different players and that kind of thing. And I thought that they could do something like that and play a little bit with that format in the film. And again, they didn't do really anything. So it's like for every little thing that they did when it comes to, the accuracy of the throws or the
hmm
kinds of issues that they did with the football stuff or whatever, right? There were still so many missed opportunities, and it just resulted in a film that in a way it felt kind of half baked, even though like we've been saying there was still some good stuff. Now what was very interesting was that Cameron had his like manager who was played by Tim Heidecker,
yep,
and Tim Heidecker and a bunch of like unknown weird looking guys in these crazy, like I don't know, like voodoo whatever outfits. They're a part of this this like upper echelon of like the main cult. So it turned out that it wasn't Isaiah White running the show. It was actually like a higher thing, and then Isaiah was like the chosen one or whatever. And what was really interesting, Mitchell, was that, and this is what we talked about, was that there was kind of a power dynamic between him and Isaiah White because of the power that the him kind of like gave. And it would have been super cool if they actually incorporated like aspects of like sports mythology, like even Roman mythology, like the gladiators trying to duke it out and trying to get the thing, and they kind of do that, but it's not fleshed out to the point where it's super cool, super cool. But I kind of saw what they were trying to go for, but it just, I don't know. Like I said, there were just a lot of things that they just could have, like, if they just had a little more time, or they were able to punch up that script just a little bit more, or something like that. It actually could have been interesting, but unfortunately, it just falls, unfortunately, just a bit too flat. And I actually liked the ending quite a bit. It got kind of freaky by the end, and there was all sorts of sacrifice stuff, and things got kind of weird and wild and crazy. Um, but I don't know whether. And here's my last point. But before you can comment. I don't know whether or not we needed to necessarily go the supernatural route with this. We could. It doesn't mean you can't. But I just feel like there are so many other ways, like I've been saying, that you could tackle a football horror story and make it meaningful, make it more impactful, instead of it being as kind of, and I wouldn't say it's a lackluster film, it's just like I said, leaves a lot to be desired. So you
hmm yeah. No, I and what I'll say is, you know, excuse me, with this movie, yeah, the attention to detail, to the equipment that they use, the way that they throw a lot of that stuff, what I greatly appreciated, that those attention to details. Again, the equipment, the techniques, stuff like that was awesome, and I really appreciated that. But the overarching story, you talked about Cam,
know.
and you talked about his character. I blame the writing. I
Yeah,
blame the
right.
writing
As
because
I was
he
speaking, it was clear to me that it was the writing mostly.
yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
when you look at it, what it really is he is a guy that is put in a predicament where he is supposed to be, he looks up to Isaiah White,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be this guy that's enamored. And that's really what he is. He's enamored by Isaiah White, and then he doesn't have his phone, he doesn't have anything, and he's being yelled at, he's being told to do things, there's stuff being done to him that he doesn't know about, all like throughout the movie. It's insane how like they made him just so useless. And at the end,
Yeah.
like you say, at
Yeah.
the end he kind of goes into, and dare I say, Evan, he found himself. It's a
He
cheesy joke, but it's
finally found himself, and we don't know that much other than he wanted to be the biggest super football
yeah,
star ever, and that's
yeah,
the problem because, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, even though we see these players on TV, if you really wanted to, you
mhm,
know what their personal lives are like more than likely if you follow them close enough. And I think the movie
yeah,
could have gone that route just
yeah.
a little bit more. Like, yes, obviously he had the pressures and all of that, but he really was a blank slate throughout the entire movie, and there wasn't anything compelling about his character to move the narrative along.
Yeah, and the screen time is 136 minutes. They could have easily done 2 hours.
Yeah,
They could have done two and a half, maybe. Like they could have done, you know, uh, they could have done more. I would have liked to have seen Isaiah White, his career, what it was like in the, they call it the USFF. It's like United States Football Federation or something like that.
right.
I would have much rather again, it's an hour 36. Let's say they did 24 minutes and then for Isaiah White to kind of establish him more. What was he like when he played in the USFF? Maybe show press conferences, show like how he was perceived by other people in the league. Like they could have done cameos. Imagine if they brought in like a bunch of random cameos, like they
Yeah.
just have Terry Crews talking seriously, like damn, yeah, Isaiah White's one of the best players I ever played with. That would have been funny. Terry Crews showing up in the beginning, or even it doesn't matter who. It could have been anyone. You could have had anyone show up and then say, "Oh, Isaiah White, one of the best to ever play." It would have been, it would have expanded the universe more while also going ahead and giving you more of a background from Isaiah White, or even kind of do like they could have done 12 minutes of that,
Hmm.
and then 12 minutes of talking about where did he come from, how did he play, what did he do. Um, more backstory on Isaiah White, more backstory Cam Cade. What did Cam Cade do? They say he was a walk on. What school did he go to? Like
Right.
they could have made up a school. They made up teams. They made up a whole federation. They can't say, oh, he played for the Texas Renegades. He played for the South Texas University Rattlesnakes.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really see what exactly his career was. We saw his school career, but we
No,
didn't
no.
see his
They they
overall football career.
they mention it. They said that he had a
Right.
great
No, no,
year.
they mentioned it. It's like there were like these little what I remember is that there were these flashbacks a little bit and there was a voiceover and a little bit of that, but they totally glossed over everything else. So
Yeah,
that but I 100% agree with that, but it's just to say that they just could have done more. They just could have.
yeah, and when you look at someone like Tom Brady, who clearly Marlon Wayans is kind of portraying, they're making he's an evil Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady, you never see him like, you wouldn't think Tom Brady does this. He seems like he's just the perfect person.
Yeah.
Because whenever he answers questions at the podium, it's always perfect. It's always the most politically correct statement. Tom, your defense let up 50 points and the offense scored 49 and you guys lost today. What do you got to do? All the fans are saying the defense sucks. Fire the defensive coordinator. Get him out of here. Because no defense should be letting up 50 points. Tom Brady's going to go, yeah, no, we got to be better as a team. That's what Tom Brady will tell you. And it would have been cool to see something like that, maybe like, and I think it would have made him more sinister when we see him kind of go a little bit crazy, is if you've seen Isaiah White, in these press conferences where people are like, yeah, he's the best teammate ever, or some more football traditions, like every year, what quarterbacks do. for their offensive line is they buy them gifts.
Mhm.
So Tom Brady, when the season would come to a close, he would buy gifts for his offensive line. So that's a common thing. Guys go out there, they buy gifts for their offensive linemen. It would have been nice to maybe kind of establish more characters. Like there's Tim Jones, and Tim Jones is the left tackle for Isaiah White, the number one wide receiver for Isaiah White. Who is it? It's not Randy Moss. It's Mandy Ross. Yeah,
Right.
whatever. Bring someone in like that. I think that they could have expanded the universe some more. They could have brought in more characters. They could have established the USFF a little bit more. And yeah, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen more from the universe and some of the writing early on to establish these characters some more.
I am in complete agreement with that. All right, spoilers over. So with that being said, my final closing thoughts is that although I think this is not going to be I personally think this will not be the only football horror movie to ever exist. I think that this is the first, and obviously, there are lots of lessons to be learned from this movie. I mean, Mitchell, how many like doll horror movies are there, like Chucky or
Yeah,
Annabelle?
yeah.
How many like vampire movies are there?
The
How many
Conjuring.
werewolf movies? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many of this niche little subgenres. So, you know what? We'll see what happens. I actually think it'd be pretty rad if there were other sports horror movies. Like, I mean, there's Marty Supreme. That's ping
So,
pong. Let's get a ping pong horror movie. Let's
yeah.
do
Well,
freaking ghosts playing ping pong or something.
see, this is what I'll say though with football though.
Yeah,
What makes it because when you think of football, like it's like Gladiator. You
exactly.
know,
Yeah, of
that's
course.
that's
There's
that's
a
what I'll say.
lot of, like you said, concussion. CTE. All
Mhm.
all of that is. It's like there is a level of like scariness to what football can do to the human body. It's like body
Yeah.
horror, basically.
Yeah, and then you look at someone like I mentioned 2010. That was the year that they put in all the rules for helmet to helmet contact, and they tried to make it a point to get rid of the big hits.
Oh yeah, sure.
Junior Seau, we can't say the word. We use substitute words. He committed Sudoku,
Hmm.
and there was an outside linebacker, another guy for the Chiefs in 2010, and he committed Sudoku as well in the Chiefs parking lot.
Right.
He went on and this all happened in 2010, and
Wow.
the NFL, since that has they made player safety such a big deal by inventing new helmets with springs in them, so when they hit. It takes more tension. Having the blue tent on the sideline so whenever and the NFL can call in and be like, that guy got hit hard, take him off the field. He's got to go through the evaluation. If he's concussed, he gets sat.
Hmm.
The NFL has really stepped up, and I'm not trying to say that they've been perfect. They haven't. There's been a lot of things the NFL has messed up along the way, but when they have done something right, you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, no, good point. I get that. Um, but in any case, I think that that this type of movie will eventually happen, and there may be a really good one down the road. It's just that we have this one, and frankly, this film is mid. So, Mitchell, what is your rating for him?
What did we do it out of five?
We do it out. So we do yeah, like well. So
Pull up the list. I need to know again. I
let's
know
pull.
I know one is a real Anissa move.
Yeah, real. That's like yeah. That's so we do it from one. I think it's like 1 to 10.
Okay.
We might want to cut this part out, but just give me a second. I am gonna get the
No, no,
list.
no. Keep it in, Evan.
Keep it
Keep
in.
it
Okay.
in.
All right. All
I
right.
just remember one was a real Anissa move, and I
Yeah.
love
Real
that.
Neeson
We're
move.
keeping it. We're keeping it. I think it's glory. I think it's glorious that we keep it.
Oh no. The rating system is the rating system. I just gotta find the freaking
Yeah,
list.
yeah, and we got to keep it. I love that we came up with that. It is absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
And
came up
Evan,
with yeah. No, I
yeah,
came up with that. You're welcome.
yeah.
Get your
Okay.
shit together!
Yeah. Boop. For fuck's sake, I'm not even logged in.
Huh?
Get your head up. Get your shit together. Oh my
Why,
god, but
not you
where is it?
stupid bastard.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we really shouldn't be keeping any of this in.
It's fine, Evan. Listen,
I told you, man, the game don't stop. Game can't stop. Game won't stop. Chump.
chump. I love that. I love that ending. Chump.
Jump.
Come on,
All right.
chump.
I'm gonna check on. I'm logged out of Letterbox, so I'm just gonna go into.
Stuff, Evan.
I know
Again,
Suffolk.
and again,
Um,
and again, then
and
one more
again.
time. Okay,
Um,
really?
Here it is. Okay, so we do it out of. We do in between 1 and 10. But okay, so the official Internet Uncapped film reviews rating system, and this will have to be read out. Is a real Anissa move, DSP stream, which is like you get what you get, and it's terrible, but you don't get upset. Mid, solid, really good, and excellent.
Hmm.
And so
I'm.
I gave it a mid.
So you gave it a 3.
I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm gonna have to copy you. I'm gonna go with that as well. I think it's a 2.5. Again, I think if they had established the universe more, maybe I go 3.5. If they're able to establish more characters, allow for more, connection with the characters, this might be a 4. Really
I
drop the ball.
agree. Yeah, no, if they really made the effort and they really flesh it out, it could have been better, but unfortunately, it is what it is.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah, no. So I think that'll do it for today's film review. We have more coming in 2026. It's going to be really interesting coming down the road. We have all kinds of movies. We're gonna get into more horror movies like these ones. We're probably gonna also get into some comedy, more blockbuster ones like we did this past year. We're probably gonna do Street Fighter, the movie as well. We got more. We got more coming down the pike. But in the meantime, be sure if you want to see more film reviews and other videos of ours, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Smash the like button. Hit the bell for notifications. Also, check out our full shows on Spotify for your audio version. And until next time, we will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.